I'm here with Ann Patchett, my friend who has won more awards than anybody else in the world. Let's just call it that.
Right?
Yes.
Sure. I'm good
Because
with that.
the list goes on and on and on. And it's pretty incredible to have her career. So author extraordinaire, but not just author, bookstore owner, really speaking on behalf of bookstores everywhere, the literary word, defense of physical books, libraries, all things amazing. So we're going to just dive in very quickly to several of those topics, but we appreciate you being here. And novelist who's really a champion of the written word in a big, big way. So I've heard you speak in all these places, and it's pretty compelling. It's a great story.
Shouldn't novelists all be champions of the written word? I mean, it's kind of like mechanics being champions of cars. If we want to stay in business, we should make sure that our business survives.
Well, you took steps to do that, and it's pretty amazing. I remember when you and Karen first opened Parnassus, and it was quite the story then, and people thought you were crazy. People thought you took a left turn that made no sense, and yet it did make sense. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But I'd love to talk about the physical book, and you have a new book, and we'll get into that later. But just the physical book. I've heard you talk about the importance of the physical book, and I'd love to talk about that a little bit. What's your defense of the physical book?
You know, it's not all one way. There are people who love to read on a screen. There are people who love audiobooks. I can talk about audiobooks and what a great tool that is for people who are too busy to sit down with a book, or people learn in different ways. And then there are people who like a physical book. So it doesn't have to be one way, but nor should it be that we get rid of the physical book, right? So it's a very important piece of the picture of how we read. I read a physical book. I own a bookstore. People come in and say, oh, you know, I love the way it smells. I love the way books feel. I have to hold a book. I'm that way. I don't think everybody has to read the same way I read, but I want to make sure that that's always going to be an option for those of us who want to read that way.
It's true. And I remember hearing you talk about seeing people on the plane with physical books, and I'm always one of them. I love the physical book. I think I learn better, and there have been studies, even recently, young people in college learning that they learn more when reading physically than digitally. But it is a variety, and you have to have all things for all people. But there's something special about that book. And your bookstore, which Parnassus opened, and we can't go through the journey of all of that in the time we have, but what's that been like, making a shift from author to bookstore owner to also author? And how do you have the time to write anymore? And especially this new book.
Okay, the most important thing, and we will have been open for 15 years in November. So we're becoming like an institution. I don't work in the bookstore. I have amazing people who work in that store, who run it. I mean, but top to bottom, we have an incredible staff. I am not a micromanager. I trust people completely. And I mean, the people that I hire, I trust completely. They're wonderful, and they do all the work. So I don't take any money out of the bookstore. The only money I take out of Parnassus is to pay the taxes on Parnassus. Everything else is profit, and we profit share among the staff. So it's theirs. They are doing the work, running the show, and reaping the profits of that bookstore. I'm just kind of the mouthpiece for that bookstore. That said, I'm in the store a lot. I do this. This is the main thing I do. I interview authors. And so I'm often in your seat. We have a first editions club, which is now, we have 2,000 people in that club. I'm the person who picks the books for the signed first editions club. So I am always reading 4, 5, 6 months out. And I do the social media and the book promotions, but I don't know how to run the cash register. I don't know how to read an Excel spreadsheet. I don't have a credit card. I mean, sometimes I'm like, guys, I take authors to lunch. You should give me a credit card. And they're like, Someday, Anne, we'll give you the store credit card, but they never have.
That's great. Well, downplaying your role, you still have a major role in the PR and being that spokesperson, as you mentioned, of the entire bookstore, but also really for independent bookstores everywhere.
Yes.
You become sort of a national spokesperson, or the national spokesperson for independent bookstores.
Right.
Did that role just find you?
Right. Who knew it was a role? Like, who knew that that was a job that somebody could apply for and fill? And now I feel like it's not just independent bookstores, but the whole wave of book bannings and needing to stand up for librarians and right to read and all of these things that seem shockingly fundamental, that I think, oh, we have to start standing up for grade school librarians? Wow, yeah, we do. And because I also write picture books with the fabulous Robin Price Glasser, I go on picture book tour. So I am in a lot of schools across the country and seeing and the libraries, talking to the librarians. So that is also something that I find like I'm taking on now.
Yes, you are, in a big way recently. And we're here at a library show while we're doing this interview. And you have a love for libraries. And I saw you recently giving a keynote in a library. And you're here at the Public Library Association talking to librarians. It's interesting because some people think there's a tension between independent bookstores and libraries. And you don't see that tension at all. It's all one coherent talk about that.
We need to stick together. I mean, people who love to read and support books absolutely need to stick together. And Parnassus has partnered with our local library in Nashville for as long as we've been open. And it is really strange that people think, oh, they're not going to buy the book. They're going to check the book out of the library. It kind of goes back to what I was saying originally about if you read digitally, if you listen to audiobooks, if you read a physical book, if you get your book from the library, if you buy it at a bookstore. I don't care. What I care about is that people are reading. That's the most important thing to me. So of course I want to support libraries and librarians because some people can't afford books or people want books in a different way. Want to make sure that that's always available to all of us.
It's such an interesting thread, and the fact that you're an author as well, not a business owner with the primary goal of extracting profit. Your goal is reading. Your goal is also to have your books read. In fact, that was one of the major reasons you started Parnassus.
No, it wasn't. But it's a shocking benefit. I actually never thought about, well, if I open a bookstore, I bet we'll sell a lot more Ann Patchett novels. We sell so many Ann Patchett novels. So when I say I don't take money out of the store, believe me, I'm making money off of the store because we are selling so many of my books and I get the royalties for those books.
Yes, what I meant was you had to open the store because there was no store.
There wasn't a store.
You had
right?
no place to sign.
There was an alteration shop in town that was selling my books in that time that we didn't have a store.
Not quite the same thing.
No.
So what about the person who sees this and says, you know what, I want to support my library and my independent bookstore. What's one thing they can do?
Well, let's just talk about supporting your library. I mean, if every time you check out a book, if you have enough money and you've got a kid and you're checking out 10 picture books and you're going to turn around in 4 days and check out 10 more picture books, give the library the money for one picture book. Say once a month, I'm going to give $20 to the library, do something to support the library or volunteer at the library. Go and read for the story time.
That's nice.
Being a reader is such a huge thing. One of the things that I really press, and we've had some remarkably successful fundraising campaigns at Parnassus, one for Humanities Tennessee that saved the Southern Festival of the Book. And then we had another for a local organization called Book'em that gets books out to kids in Title I schools who need books. I've said we're going to have a fundraiser where you can donate $20. That's it. No more. Because I think that so often when people are trying to raise money, people think, I can't give enough money to make a difference. We raised $30,000 in $20 bills.
That's great.
For the Humanities Tennessee. And then everybody feels like they're a part of something and you're not left out.
And you're not pushing people out who feel like, I don't have thousands to give.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, that's good. Let's switch to writing.
Okay.
And your process real quick for people who are watching and maybe aspiring novelists, maybe somebody young who sees Ann Patchett and they say, that is a hero of mine. Talk a little bit about your process. You've talked about trusting that process and not outlining in the past. I'd love to explore that piece with you.
I think the most important thing that I would want to say to a young person who wants to be a writer is this is work. Yeah, I mean, number one, you do it because you love it. You don't do it because you want to be a famous novelist. You do it because you just can't imagine doing anything else with your life. We put way too much emphasis on talent, creativity, inspiration, the muse. And I think the older I get, the longer I do this, the more I realize it is work. I mean, yes, talent and creativity figure into it, especially early on. But if you don't love this, if you don't have a burning desire not to be a writer, but to write, if you have a burning desire to be a writer, forget it. But if you just think, this is who I am and this is what I want to do, and I'm going to work and nobody's going to stop me. Great example, Virginia Evans, who has the blockbuster hit, The Correspondent. That is the 8th book she wrote. She wrote 7 books, and she has 2 little kids and no money. And she is getting up every morning and writing, and she can't get an agent and she can't get a publisher, but she keeps doing it because it's who she is and it's what she loves. That's what it means to be a writer. And then people say, oh, you had this huge hit with your first book. No, she had a huge hit with her 8th book because not even because she believed in herself, but because she literally couldn't do anything else with her life. That's who she was.
She just kept doing it.
She just kept doing it because she loved it. And she didn't just keep doing it because she thought, someday I'm going to write a book like The Correspondent and it's going to be a huge blockbuster. You make art because you're an artist and you love to make art.
I love that. And it's so true. It's inside of you and it has to come out or you feel that tension. Let's talk about briefly your latest book. It is called Whistler.
Yep.
I'm glad that you recognize it. Beautiful cover, by the way.
Beautiful
You're known
cover.
for your cover.
So that's a painting by Noah Satterstrom, my friend in Nashville. And he also did the cover for the Dutch House. And it was the same.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
The same thing. I called Noah for the Dutch House and I was like, okay, I need a 10-year-old girl in a red coat, black hair, blue eyes, staring directly at the painter. And he was like, yep, got it. 4 days later, he brought me that painting. This same thing. I said, the horse needs to be looking directly at the viewer.
It does. It looks at you.
And he said, their eyes are on the side of their head. I was like, make it work. and then he would show me a sketch and I would say, bigger saddle, reins on the ground, smaller mountains. The whole time the cover, it was during the day, beautiful cloudscape. And at one point he said, what do you think if we did this at night? He hadn't read the book. I said, try it. And then it was great. So he is a fantastic painter and we have a great friendship and we work so well together.
Well, it's interesting because you have such clarity on when you say just how I'm working with him.
Yeah.
Do you have that same clarity about characters as you're writing them and story?
Yes.
Yes. So it's there before you start writing.
Yeah. I mean, I spend a long time thinking about things, change my mind, working through different angles. It's not set in stone, but I have clarity. And a lot of time the clarity is this. It could be A. It could be B. It doesn't actually make any difference. At some point you have to pick. I have an idea for a novel right now, and I am really wrestling with whether or not the narrator, the main character, is going to be a man or a woman. They would be in the same situation. It's not like there's a man and a woman who's going to tell the story, but this is either the story of this character or that character. They're very similar. Which way am I going to go? It's not like one's going to be good and one's going to be bad. I just have to make a decision and follow it through.
That's interesting. You also have, in reading all of your books, what's so interesting in your character development is the way you write slowly paints the picture of who they are. It's each time, it's as if you're an artist and you're coming back and adding to that canvas. And then it comes back. And then you think you know the character, and then you come back again. And then you come back again and again and again. And you don't fully, at least this is my view, fully see the character until the very end of the book, when it's now it's complete. Now I know who you are. I'm sure you've heard something like that before.
No, I haven't actually.
Do you see
That's
that?
a Skip original.
Well, do you see
but I
that?
do see that. But when I'm listening to you say that, I think, but that's how we meet people, right? Like, how long have we known each other?
Many, many years.
25? I don't even
Yes.
know, but a really long time. So who we saw of one another the first time we met, the second time we met, the third time we met, it goes on. And every time we learn a little bit more about each other, we're a little bit more comfortable with each other. And that's friendship. That's the same way it is with characters.
And yet that's not the way most novelists approach it. You see, they seem to build out the character. For me, it's built out earlier and faster. I think the way you just described it is true to life, and that's probably why your books are so enduring. It reads more true to life. Oh, I met this person again. Now I know this.
Right, but if you're talking
beautifully.
about a thriller or a romance or genre fiction, which is great and important, but yes, you get in a James Patterson novel, you get that character fully formed on page 1, paragraph 1, and he doesn't vary from that. And people like that. That's one kind of a reading experience. But I like the idea of an arc and things changing. In this book, at the beginning, you might think you have one idea of Daphne's marriage, how she is with her husband. By the end of the book, you have a very different idea.
Yes, you do.
You have one idea of how she feels about her mother. But by the end of the book, they've grown, they've changed. And that's the way we are.
It is the way we are. And I love how you make it so simple of, well, that's obvious. And yet it's not. I think that's part of what makes a great artist is it's not. And just like painting this picture, it's not, he could do that and work with you, but not all artists could.
No, that's true.
So it's a true gift. This book is extraordinary. I recommend everybody to get it and read it because it is simply so beautifully done. The story's compelling. As I said, the character development, but then it just keeps weaving, and then you feel like you know them. They're very. Your novels are very cinematic, and you've heard that, I'm sure, before. But this one in particular, you can just feel it and see it. You can't get right. I want to get back and read and learn more about it. So I'm sure it's going to be a big Ann Patchett novel. Are you sure?
We'll see. Can I tell you a story?
Yeah, please.
So this book is dedicated to my friend Jim Fox. And Jim Fox died, it'll be 2 years in May. He died on his 85th birthday. And when he died, there's a lot of love left. And I thought, I want to write a book that's not about me, not about Jim, not about my friendship with him, but I'm going to take all the love that I had for him and all the love that he had for me, and I'm going to put it in this book. And I think it's a very, very loving, kind book because it is his kindness that I put into the book.
You feel that. You feel the love. Do you, as you look back at your body of work from this Whistler most recent, or I guess the most recent's the idea in your head right now.
It's pretty recent.
But out
to Patron Saint of Liars in 1992.
Go back through your arc of your work.
Yeah.
Is there something that unifies all of that?
Probably there's a lot of family, a lot of love, a lot of kind of making peace with who you are. Things change as I get older. Boy, things change, and what I'm interested in changes because I see the things that I'm wrestling with, parents and aging. I just finished reading the new Barbara Kingsolver book, Partita, that will be coming out in October, and I laughed to see the things that she was wrestling with that are the same things I am wrestling with, down to there's something about dress patterns in both of our books, saving old dress patterns. And I'm like, oh, Barbara, here we are finding our parents' old dress patterns.
We find these things as we go.
Yeah, we do.
So I just want to end with this. What is Ann Patchett most grateful for right now? Because you exude positivity, gratitude, even in the face of challenges, book bans, whatever the challenges of the day, you just exude an optimism and a positivity. And so it has to stem from something. What are you most grateful for right now?
You know, it stems from my brain chemistry. And I was born this way. My mother always been. And I really think we are all our brain chemistry, and we are who we are. My mother says when the postman would come when I was 2 years old, I would run to the door and be like, hey,
presents for me.
You know, I am a happy person. I cry once every 5 years. And it's not virtue. It's not that I am a better person or a good person. It's that the salt in my brain is such that I see a lot of goodness in the world. And even as the world is on fire and I see the pain and the suffering every single day, I see people being so unbelievably kind to one another. And if I can do my part to lift that up and say, yeah, this is true, and we must constantly address the pain and the suffering and the book bans, but not at the expense of ignoring the fact that people are, for the most part, incredibly kind.
We can't change our brain chemistry how we're born, perhaps, but I would say there's so many lessons in what you said. And I would say that one of the main reasons people listen to you and accept that and take that in is because of the way you frame things in a positive way, and that you don't alienate and create tension. You bring people to a happier place. And a little known gift of yours that people watching this will not know.
Yes.
I've keynoted conferences with you, publishing conferences years ago. I would watch you talk to every single person, and independent bookstore owners would say, oh, when she does a book tour, she talks to every single person. Everybody gets a chance to get to know Ann. And it's a beautiful gift, and it may be the way you're wired, but that authenticity and that connection comes through in a way that is very different than some other authors who are very gruff and just, walk out of the back room. And so that hasn't changed. Knowing you for decades, it could have. Some people get that list of awards and they change. And you're going back to your brain chemistry, you haven't changed. You're still that Ann Patchett that I met all those years ago. And that's
I'm still making dinner every night, and I'm still doing the ironing, and I'm still walking the dogs, and I'm still cleaning the house. And I'm still, it's so funny. People are like, how do you stay the same? And I think, housework.
Okay, that'll be the title. What is the key?
It really keeps my feet right on the ground.
I think the same way. I'm dragging down the trash.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not magic. Well, thank you for sharing this. Whistler is amazing.
Thank you.
All your books are. I think I'm always like, my favorite is this one, but the last one I read, because it's just so.
I love that.
And it is. I may be a friend who knows you for decades, but I'm also a fan, and I'm fanboying over this book, Whistler. It's fantastic. So
thanks, Skip.
thank you. Take care.
Beautiful. Thank you.